We are going to be drawing a 1-point perspective drawing of a house on a street today. And as we go through it, we are going to number different parts of the drawing to match the definitions that I have given you on Canvas. So just grab your ruler and a pencil and let's follow along. We're going to start with the horizon line. The horizon line is your eye level line. It is where the earth and sky meet. So about halfway up your paper, we are just going to draw a horizontal line across the whole page. Now, we are going to label that as number 1 because that is your first definition. Then we are going to draw a vanishing point right in the center of that horizon line. Your vanishing point will always be on your horizon line for 1-point perspective. Your vanishing point is where lines are going to meet as they go back in the distance. You will see that as we go through this drawing. So that is number 2. Now we're going to start drawing our house. So on the right side of the vanishing point, we're going to start by drawing a rectangle that goes above and below the horizon line. So we're going to draw 2 vertical lines. And then we are going to connect those lines, but make sure that your ruler is parallel to the top or bottom of your paper. Don't just connect the 2 lines because a horizontal line will always be parallel to the top or bottom of your paper. And we want these to be horizontal lines. Okay, so now that we have our rectangle, this is going to be the side of our house. The other side of our house is going to be going back in space. So this is where we have to utilize our vanishing point. Okay, we are going to line our ruler up with the vanishing point in the bottom left corner of the house, and we are going to draw a line that goes back in space towards that vanishing point. We're going to stop about halfway between our rectangle and our vanishing point. Then we're going to do the same thing for the top, lining it up with the vanishing point in the top left corner and drawing our line. Then we are going to draw another vertical line that is straight up and down. Make sure it's parallel to the sides of your paper to connect those 2 lines that we just drew that went back to the vanishing point. These lines that go back towards the vanishing point are called receding lines, which is one of your definitions. Those are the lines that are going back in space. We'll number that in a minute. Now we've got the 2 sides of our house. We want to add in the door and windows to get inside the house if we were actually on the street. So we are going to draw 2 vertical lines at the middle, towards the middle of the house. These are going to become our door. So we've drawn 2 vertical lines straight up and down. Okay. Now when we draw the top of this door, because it is on the side of the house that is going back in space, we have to use our vanishing point to draw the top of it. We can't just draw a horizontal line because this side of the house is going back in space towards that vanishing point. So I'm going to line my ruler up with my vanishing point and the right line of the door, and I'm just going to draw a line from there to the other side of the door, and now I have my door. So I'm just going to draw a little door knob on there to indicate that it is a door. Now we are going to draw 2 windows on the first floor. We're going to make this a 2-story house. So I'm going to draw another 2 vertical lines in between the door and the right side of the house. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And again, for the top and bottom of these windows, we must use our vanishing point because it's on the side of the house that's going back in space. So I'm going to tackle both of these windows at the same time. I'm going to line my ruler up with the vanishing point and the right side of the right mirror. So I'm lining that up, and I'm just going to draw a line to connect the top of the first window and the second one so that they're the same height. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom, lining it up with the vanishing point and the right side of the window, of the right window, and then drawing that line for the bottom of both windows. So now I have two windows that are the same size. They don't look the same size because this side of the house is going back in space, and if you remember the aerial perspective definitions about sizing, things get smaller as they move back in space. Now we're going to do the top windows. So I'm just going to go in and make 2 lines for the right window. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the left, drawing 2 lines. And then repeat the process that I did for the bottom windows. I'm going to line it up with the right side of the right window and the vanishing point, and I'm going to draw that line for the top of both windows at the same time, and then do the same thing for the bottom. Now I have an upstairs to my house. The one thing this house is missing now is a roof, so let's go ahead and add that in. So I'm gonna add the triangle part, like you're drawing a house, like you've drawn your whole life starting in kindergarten, the rectangle with the triangle on top. We're gonna draw the triangle on top of the rectangle. Now this side of the roof is gonna be going back in space because it's on that side of the house. So we're gonna use our vanishing point. So lining it up with the top of that triangle and my vanishing point and drawing a line. I'm gonna stop about there because I don't need to go all the way over because my roof does not need to keep going back in space when the house stops. The other side of the roof, we need to draw by lining it up with this side of the triangle, lining our ruler up with this side of the triangle and sliding it over until we hit the back corner of the house, because we need this line to be parallel to this line. So again, lining that up, sliding it over, and then drawing that line. And now we have our house drawn. So our third definition is receding lines. That's the lines that go back in space that connect with your vanishing point if you kept drawing them. So we're gonna put a number 3 right there. Then you have vertical lines, which are your straight up and down lines. So we're gonna put that there. And then your horizontal lines, which are the ones that go side to side, parallel to the top or bottom of your paper. So that's number 5. Now, we are gonna draw our road that the house is on. So we are going to line our ruler up at the bottom of the left side of the house. And we are gonna draw a line from the vanishing point against the bottom of the line to the edge of the paper. So we're just gonna draw this line like so. And then we're gonna do it again, just a little bit further away. So lining the ruler up with the vanishing point, just draw that line till you go off the edge of the paper. This will become our sidewalk in a little bit. Then we're gonna do the same thing to the other side, just going the other way, using the vanishing point, drawing our line, and then doing it one more time to add the sidewalk on the other side of the road. So now we have our 2 sidewalks, and this will be our road here. Now, we are going to add the lines on a sidewalk. How on a sidewalk, every few feet, you have that line and that breaks up the concrete. We're gonna draw that now. We need to remember our spacing definition from the aerial perspective. That is, things move further back in space, they get closer together. So I'm making sure my ruler is parallel to the bottom of my paper, and I'm gonna draw a line. We want this to be a horizontal line, and I'm gonna draw it on both sidewalks at the same time. Okay, so I drew it over here, and I'm gonna draw it on this side too. Then I'm gonna move this back and do the same thing. Again, making sure it's parallel to the bottom of my paper, drawing on both sides at the same time. This is just gonna help you save time. And each time I do this, I'm gonna go a little less further back. So I'm getting that spacing, whereas things move further back in space, they get closer together. So just do that all the way back. And again, they're getting closer together as I move further back. So now I have my sidewalk. Our last definition is parallel lines. That's where 2 lines are going in the same direction and they will never touch because they are going the exact same direction. That is what we just did with our sidewalk. So I'm going to add number 6 right there. Because again, these lines here are parallel. They are going the exact same direction. The final step that we are going to do, we are going to draw a row of trees on this side of across the street from the house. So we need to define where the top of the trees are going to be. That's going to be above the horizon line. We're going to use our vanishing point, and we're just going to draw a line that goes above our horizon line. It doesn't matter how high you go. This is just going to tell us where to stop drawing the trees. So now that we've done that, the top of our tree is going to be here. We need to define where the bottom of our tree is going to be. So I'm going to just draw another line from the vanishing point right next to that sidewalk, but close to it. And this is where the bottom of our trees are going to hit. Okay, so to draw the first tree, we are going to make sure that it hits this line here. This is where the top of the trees are going to hit, and the bottom of the trunk is going to hit down here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that first tree. We're going to draw at least 4 trees together. You can draw more than that if you have extra room, but we're going to draw 4 for sure. Okay, drawn my first tree. Now when I draw my second tree, I want this first tree to be overlapping the second tree. So I'm gonna make sure I draw it close enough that this one is gonna cover part of that one, but I also need to remember aerial perspective. Overlapping was one of our aerial perspective definitions, but we also have size. So remember that as things move back in space, they're gonna get smaller. So when I draw this tree trunk, I'm gonna draw it a little bit smaller and making sure that I'm touching that bottom guideline and the top guideline. And now I've got 2 trees drawn, and you can erase the horizon line inside them. You can also erase the horizon line inside your house too at this point. All right, so I've got 2 trees drawn now. To draw the third tree, I want it to look like they are evenly spaced as we move back, but because things get closer together as they move back in space, I have to figure out how to know where the next tree is gonna go. So I've got a little trick. We're gonna line our ruler up, with the top of that first tree, it's gonna go through the middle of the second tree, and we are just gonna draw a dashed line from the top of that tree through the middle of the second one to the receding line that we drew as a guide. This is where our third tree trunk is gonna start. So draw my next tree trunk a little bit smaller, and then draw our leaves, making sure you're touching those two lines. For the fourth tree, we need to line our ruler up with that dashed line. Slide that over to the top of the next tree and draw that line again. Dash line from the top of the first tree through the middle of the next one to that bottom line. And then this is where our fourth tree is gonna go. Then if you wanna draw another one, just repeat that process. Line that ruler up with the dashed line, slide it over, draw your dashed line, and then draw your last tree, or your next tree. And if you have more room and you want to keep going, just keep repeating that process. And now we have a line of trees that are equally spaced apart. That if you were walking down this sidewalk, you would have the same amount of steps between each tree. And now we've finished our drawing, so you have successfully drawn a 1-point perspective drawing. Just make sure that you finish writing those definitions in your sketchbook.